Hello, everyone. Welcome to Good Film Hunting, a podcast about an average couple who are on the hunt for some good movies. In today's world, we are consuming more media than ever, perhaps more passively than ever. But we believe that by documenting and discussing the media we intake, how and what we intake will change for the better. It is important that we don't just become another consumer, but a participant, seeking to engage with the media we consume, so that we can see how our view of the world affects how we perceive it, and how it affects how we perceive the world. In this podcast, we are not only on the hunt for some good movies, but on the hunt for a good discussion. So, lean in, participate, and enjoy. Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Good Film Hunting. James here, as always, and along with my wife, Savannah. Say hi to the folks.
Hi, folks.
Hi, folks. We just watched the bad lip reading of the Mark Zuckerberg interrogation. That was very funny. I like a good bad lip reading.
I know. I haven't seen one of those in a while. That was funny.
It was funny. So yeah, this evening we are talking about the social network. Yay!
Yay.
Woohoo! But before we do that, how are you doing, Savannah?
Good.
Good?
I'm full of chili.
Oh, yum.
Was that really chili, though? It was more like
I mean,
taco soup. Thick
I
taco
guess,
soup.
I don't know. What's the difference between chili and a taco soup?
Well, there was no broth in that.
So it's like a stew?
It was more like a stew. Because it wasn't as thick as I would expect chili to be. And it had corn in it, which is not really a chili thing.
Okay.
But it was really yummy.
It was pretty good.
How are you?
Good. It's been a busy past few days, as you know. Excuse me. But yeah, I'm excited to be here. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be fun. So yeah, before we delve into the movie, I'll just give a brief overview of the episode as usual. We will be starting with a list of facts for Savannah and the audience, facts that Savannah probably does not know. That could be fun facts, that could be boring facts. They're just facts about the movie. And then we'll go into our history with the film and our thoughts on the movie, if we have any. Well, I mean, we're going to have thoughts on the movie. If we have any history, that is. If we didn't have any thoughts, that would be for a very boring, awkward conversation. And after that, we'll go into our rating system where we'll rank it through 4 different categories on a scale of 1 to 5. We'll come to the end of that and give it each our individual overall rating. And then we've got a couple different sections we'll go through, just fun little stuff at the end. We're still working on building this podcast episode structure out over time. But yeah, that's what we got so far. So, before we begin, what is Zuckerberg backwards? I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's with an E.
Zuckerberg, maybe, I don't know.
No, is it?
I mean, it's not saying it's wrong, so obviously it recognizes it.
Well.
Okay. Anywho, now that that's out of the way. So, let's start with some facts. Some facts about the movie. All right, when was this released, Savannah? Did you look?
2006.
No.
2009. 10.
Yes. Do you know what day?
No.
October 1st.
Oh.
October 1st, 2010. It had a not surprisingly...
Can you believe that 2010 was already 13 years ago, almost 14 years ago?
I know. That's crazy. That's old.
Oh.
Yeah, wow.
I'm like, aren't I only 13 years old?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
How sad.
Definitely not. This one didn't have a very large budget. Do you want to guess what it was? Hint, it was the same as last week's movie.
Oh, I don't remember that. 25 million.
No!
This is at 48 million.
Close.
64 million.
No, it's just 40. Just 40 million.
Sorry.
It's the same as Klaus. It had a box office of 224.9 million.
Wow.
So that's pretty
They
good.
made some good money.
Yeah.
Some bread.
It had a runtime of 120 minutes.
Exactly 2 hours.
Exactly 2 hours. I don't know if there's any symbolism there, but sometimes there's symbolism in the runtime, I guess. It was directed by David Fincher, who's a well-regarded director, one of the more well-regarded entrepreneurial directors, I think. He's kind of in the holy trinity of entrepreneurial directors, along with Christopher Nolan and Quentin Tarantino. So their movies are often compared to each other, not because they're alike so much as just people like doing it because they like doing it, I guess. But David Fincher, a couple movies he's directed would include Seven, Zodiac, and Fight Club. What was the gasp?
Fight Club.
What's your history
We're
with
not
Fight Club?
supposed to talk about it.
Oh, sorry.
That's all I know.
First rule of Fight Club. The screenplay, though, was written by Aaron Sorkin. I think that's how you say it. He's known for writing the screenplays for a film called Charlie Wilson's War, Moneyball, and a movie about Steve Jobs in 2015. He won the Academy Award for Best Adapted Screenplay in 2010 for The Social Network. And he actually directed a couple films, one of them being Steve Jobs, actually, which I find it interesting that I did two movies.
What does Steve Jobs do?
Well, he's dead now.
Well, what did he do?
He founded Apple and was
okay.
one of the co-founders at Pixar as well.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
That's why the laptop has the Wall-E sound when it opens.
Does it?
Yeah, because the sound. This is the sound Wall-E makes when he...
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You never knew that?
No. I mean, I didn't...
I don't know which one came first, but there's the reason there's a connection there.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. But this movie was based off a book, obviously, called The Accidental Billionaires by Ben Mesrich. Ben Mesrich? Mezrch.
Yeah, interesting. I don't know how to pronounce
I
that.
don't know. I was gonna pull up the Wikipedia.
Wikipedia really wants you to donate.
They really do. They want me to donate so bad. I'm sorry. I don't have money to spare in your Wikipedia. So Aaron Sorkin said, "What attracted me to the film project had nothing to do with Facebook. The invention itself is as modern as it gets, but the story is as old as storytelling. The themes of friendship, loyalty, jealousy, class, and power." He said that he read an unfinished draft of The Accidental Billionaires when the publisher began shopping it around.
And he decided that he wanted to steal the story.
Well, the thing was, I guess the production company or publisher began shopping around for a film adaptation. Sorkin said it was one of the soonest projects, or one of the few projects he's ever said yes to, like immediately after reading 3 pages. So he and the author kind of didn't really collaborate on it so much as they got in touch every once in a while to talk about it. The book was finished just before the screenplay, I think, so they were released very closely to each other. So the music was composed by Trent Reznor, who is a lead songwriter in the band 9 Inch Nails.
Scary.
I know. It looks like a very edgy band, very emo band.
Did you look them up?
I didn't look them up too closely. Just look them up. And it was also done by Atticus Ross, whose only film that we're familiar with that he would have done the score for would have been Pixar's Soul.
Oh.
So naturally, this film is very critically acclaimed. It was named one of the best films of the year. It was released by 78 critics, and it was named the best by 22 critics of that year. So people really liked it. It was also chosen by the National Board of Review as the best film of 2010, and at the 83rd Academy Awards, it received 8 nominations, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor for Eisenberg, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Original Score, and Best Film Editing. The only one I know for sure that it won was the Adapted Screenplay. And then the Writer Guild's Writers Guild of America ranked Sorkin's screenplay as the third greatest of the 21st century.
Wow.
I know. And then, while no official sequel to the film has been announced, Sorkin has publicly announced that he would love to do a sequel if David Fincher was ever up to directing it. However, I'm curious to know what that would look like.
I know. Like, what more is there to say?
Yeah, and especially considering this is kind of a semi-historical biographical film. I say that because obviously we weren't there, and like all Zuckerberg and even Eduardo, is that the guy's name?
Yeah.
Like, they point out like this is clearly like very heavily fictionalized for the sake of drama and film. Mark Zuckerberg said in an interview, "I just wish that nobody had made a movie of me while I was alive." It's like, okay, fair enough.
I would feel that way too.
He was impressed with the wardrobe accuracy, though. He said that the clothes were very accurate to what he wore, and several of the things were like things he owned.
I mean, to be fair, is it that hard to pinpoint the wardrobe of like
true.
a nerdy college guy?
I guess not. He defended himself and said that he didn't create Facebook to get girls so much as to build something. So, who knows?
Wait, did he really say in the movie that he created Facebook to get girls?
Well, no, I mean, he kind of hinted at that's why he was making it for other people. So, I mean, he and like a couple other people, if you look in the Wikipedia article, obviously Wikipedia is Wikipedia, so it is what it is. And we're talking about how the film very, like, emphasized the girls and and the sex and the drugs and just all that kind of stuff a lot, which, you know, was part of their lives, but they felt like they overdid it.
Yeah, speaking of which, remind me to say something about college later.
About college later? Oh, yeah. Okay. Private conversation, I guess. So, as actors, it starred Jesse Eisenberg as Mark Zuckerberg. We know him as doing Blue from Rio.
Yeah, of course.
Andrew Garfield as Eduardo. Justin Timberlake as Sean Parker. I'm not familiar with anything Justin Timberlake has done music-wise.
Other than Trolls.
Oh, did he?
He sings that song.
Okay.
Can't Stop the Feeling, right? I think.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I guess
I'm gonna
not.
look at that really fast.
And it had Army Hammer as Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss. So that confirms it was the same actor who did the twins.
Yeah, he sang Can't Stop the Feeling.
Oh, interesting. What else has he done, if anything?
As far as music, none that I really know of.
Okay, interesting.
It's interesting when singers are actors.
Yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Oh, he was one of the main singers in NSYNC.
Sync, I'm not familiar.
NSYNC.
Oh, NSYNC?
The popular boy band. It's NSYNC.
Ah, interesting.
Boy band.
Boy band?
From the past.
So before we delve into this movie, 2010. Okay, so that year, Social Network came out, obviously. It's generally regarded as one of the best films of that year, obviously by critics. A lot of critics think it was the best film. I just mentioned earlier there was the holy trinity of entrepreneurial directors, as they call it. So in 2010, Christopher Nolan did release a movie. A lot of people consider his magnum opus. Can you guess what that was?
Interstellar?
No.
What?
Another I.
Inception.
Yes.
Do you consider that his magnum opus?
A lot of people consider it. I didn't say I
you?
did. Do I? No, I do not consider it his magnum opus.
Me neither.
Just out of curiosity, would you say you enjoyed this or Inception more?
This.
Did you? Like, significantly more? Or?
Not significantly, but it's more my kind of movie.
Oh, okay.
Like, I prefer dramas to sci-fi.
Okay.
So.
Gotcha. I mean, Inception's drama, but...
It is, but I think I prefer this one.
Okay.
Like, if we were to choose which one to watch again, I probably would pick this one.
Really?
Because I've seen Inception a couple of times.
That's
I like
true.
both, though. They were both good.
Okay. Gotcha. Good to know.
What about you?
What about me? I feel like I'd need to watch this one again. I feel like I didn't appreciate it as much as I could have, just because like I was getting familiar with it. I enjoyed it towards the end for sure, which is getting into thoughts, general thoughts about it. But it took me a little bit to warm up to it, I would say. So yeah, let's delve right into our history and thoughts on the movie. This is generally spoiler free. Savannah, what were your thoughts? And if you have a history with the movie, what is it?
I don't have a history.
None? You've never heard of it?
Nope. Never knew it existed until you showed it to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And as far as general thoughts, I thought it was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was somewhat infuriating at moments.
Like in a good way or in a bad
In
way?
a bad way. Not the movie itself, but like the people, what the characters were doing.
So you were like the movie wanted you to feel that. So it was good in the sense of like you felt what you were supposed to feel.
Yeah, I felt what I was supposed to feel.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I thought it was infuriating at times, and I thought it was intellectual.
There you go.
The three eyes.
The three eyes. Infuriating. I can't say it tonight. Infuriating. Okay. Intellectual and interesting.
Yes.
Okay. I feel like interesting is a bit of a cheat, but
Whatever.
My history, I don't know if I remember much about history. Your mom was the one who mentioned this, I think.
No.
Which is what put it into my brain, I feel.
No, I don't think she did.
Really?
I don't think she's ever heard of it. I think
Really?
you might be thinking about The Social Dilemma.
Maybe.
Which is about social media.
Oh.
But we've talked about it. I've told you about it.
So maybe not then. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought she
That's a
mentioned this one.
documentary.
Gotcha. Okay,
But they
yeah.
are related.
I could have sworn she mentioned this one. Because, yeah, I mean, I guess I've heard of this one and it's been like subconsciously in my mind because I'm obviously, I look at directors and what they do. So, yeah, I forgot this was David Fincher. So when we were watching it in the opening credits were coming on and saw his name, like, oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
This will be my first exposure to one of his movies. Yeah, my thoughts on it were, like I was mentioning earlier, it kind of took me a while to get warmed up to it, but, you know, it built slowly. It was a slow burn movie, kind of like Arrival. I feel like it's very similar to it as far as the pacing goes, but it did, especially as the injustices and the drama and the double crossing and the backstabbing started happening, it got more interesting. Like, ooh, I am curious to know how this is going to go. Obviously, we kind of know to an extent just based on history. And obviously, you can only watch this with a grain of salt because it's dramatized for the sake of film.
Mm-hmm. I took it all seriously.
Did you?
Yep.
Okay.
I have feelings now towards Mark Zuckerberg.
Poor Mark. He's an interesting guy. Yeah, it was just interesting getting a little bit of like the history because obviously I didn't know where it came from. I just knew like my parents talked about Facebook being like a college thing back in the day and like kind of seeing how that happened. The movie, you know, obviously, I don't know Mark. I haven't done any research on Mark. I don't know why I'm calling him Mark like I know him well. Sorry, Mr. Zuckerberg. That's less personal. But the movie itself was very much a villain story. It was about pretty much like a bad guy and his rise to power, and ends in a way that we'll talk about a bit earlier, which kind of leaves you in an interesting place. Yeah, it was very interesting, very thought-provoking. Left you with a lot to chew on. Left you feeling uncomfortable because of just the way things shook out, ended, came together. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I would definitely watch it again. I would recommend it. I can go into more of why I'd recommend it later. But yeah, I'd say I enjoyed it very much. Okay, so now we're going to go into
Can I add enjoyable to my eyes?
No, you can't. You can't do that. No. So now we're going to go into our rating system where we have 4 categories. We have our overall entertainment, the production quality, the writing, and the content. We'll rate each one on a scale of 1 to 5 personally and discuss why we would give it that rating. So Savannah, for entertainment, just how you enjoy the movie on a scale of 1 to 5, what would you give it and why?
I'd say I'd give it a 4.5.
4.5, okay.
Yeah. It was, I don't remember ever being bored.
Okay.
Was I bored? No.
No.
I don't think so.
We had to pause it at some point, and I was worried we were going to have to like come back to it the next night because our son didn't want to go to sleep, so we had to play with him for a little bit. And you said, I really want to finish this. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
She like wants to stay up and watch it all the way through.
I mean, like I said, I do like dramas, and it was a little bit zesty, and there was some drama as they do. It was some turmoil.
Yeah.
It was just really interesting. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun and fun to watch. And kept me engaged.
Yeah.
And I thought the storyline progressed well and everything. So it was like I said, I was like biting my nails and impatience most of the time.
Yeah.
Because of the characters and their actions, but I thought it was really fun.
Yeah, it's impressive when they can take a story like this and get you as hooked as they got us with it, because just through the use of storytelling and filmmaking, they got you very hooked. And honestly, like, what was happening on screen wasn't very exciting most of the time. It was literally guys
just
talking and a little bit of jumping back and forth in the timeline, because there was the
jumping back and forth in the timeline.
Oh, yes, Loki reference. We're watching Loki right now. Maybe we'll do a overall review of Loki later.
Maybe.
What would you call those court cases? What were those when
they weren't, it wasn't court. I'm not sure. I guess like hearings. Like they were discussing, it was obviously legal because there were lawyers involved, but I don't really remember there being a judge.
Yeah, it wasn't really a court, I guess.
Yeah, I guess not.
Okay.
Maybe it just didn't accelerate enough to go to court.
Yeah.
It was like pre-court.
Okay. So yeah, there was a bit of that, but like, yeah, the fact that, like I said, it was kind of just what you saw was visually was not super exciting, but they kept you very engaged was impressive. It's kind of I kind of thought of Oppenheimer a little bit. Obviously, Oppenheimer is much newer, but like a lot of people's praise about Oppenheimer is that like most of what's happening on screen most of the time isn't like super exciting. It's really scientists talking about stuff, but they know how to edit it and use the music in just a way that it keeps you engaged. So I'm always very impressed when a story does that. But as far as entertainment goes for rating it, I'd probably give it a 4, just because, like I said, it kind of took me a little bit to warm up to it. But once I did warm up to it, I enjoyed it. I think there was so much dialogue and so many words I didn't know that my brain was just kind of taking it all in for the first time. So I think I would definitely enjoy it more with a second viewing, being able to kind of absorb that a bit more. But yeah, there was never a point where I didn't enjoy it so much as I was just like, where is this going? And then, like I said, the ending, accumulated to a point we kind of knew it was going, but we didn't want it to go. It got you, and you were like, oh, man, I wish it didn't go there. Production quality. This is where we talk about, the editing, the cinematography, the music, the acting. Savannah, what would you give it for production quality on a scale of 1 to 5?
I think I'd give it another 4.5.
Another 4.5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, I thought the acting was really good. Especially the main actor.
Jesse. Mr.
Yeah.
Eisenberg.
Yeah, I thought
Eisenberg for Zuckerberg.
He did a really good job, I thought. He did a really good job, like, acting very much like he just didn't care about anything. I also liked Andrew Garfield.
Is he up there now as one of your favorite actors?
Yeah, I like him. I don't know. Like, his acting, like, I've only seen him in 2 very similar roles, I feel like.
Well, you've seen him in Spider-Man.
No, I haven't seen him.
No, like the No Way Home.
That doesn't count.
Yes, it does.
He was a cartoon.
No Way Home. That was the Tom Holland one.
Oh,
the final, yeah. Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire.
Oh, I don't really remember him very much in there.
I just remember you saying like you had very warm feelings towards him when he showed up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did I?
You did.
In that one?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I always have warm feelings towards him when I watch movies with him. But yeah, I mean, his acting didn't like stand out. I mean, he's just a really good actor, but like, I've never seen the guy that played Mark before. So
yeah. So it was just
I was like, ooh, interesting. I mean, he's been in Rio, but
you didn't see him.
Yeah, I was like, interesting, very good. I thought the guy that played the twins was also pretty good.
Yeah.
I've seen him in something else too. I think he was in Mirror Mirror.
Probably. I can look that up while you keep talking.
Yeah. The acting was quite good. I always like when a movie has good. Like very. Because, like, it's nice when you don't have to nitpick the acting in a movie.
Yeah, it was in Mirror Mirror. You're right.
Oh, okay. I knew he looked familiar. But so what was I gonna say? But yes, acting was really good.
Mm-hmm.
The production quality in general was really good. The whole movie had kind of like a dark moodiness to it. I feel like throughout the whole thing, which was fine. I liked it. Like as far as the color and everything.
The color palette.
It was pretty dark, but I thought it was good. Okay, maybe Justin Timberlake wasn't super great as an actor, but he wasn't bad. Definitely not the worst.
He fit the vibe of the character he's supposed to. Like, you're not supposed to like him very much.
So, but and production quality was really good. I thought the storyline was really good. That's definitely more your, forte. I'm not like the most picky, but towards storylines, although some movies definitely bother me. But, yeah, I thought it was really good.
Okay.
I thought it was really well made.
Very nice.
4.5.
4.5. I'm probably going to give this one another 4. I think the production quality was good, but nothing stood out to me as being quite worthy of a 5. Like, nothing was...
And you refuse to give 4.5s, don't you?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't want to do points if possible. There might be a rare exception, but... yeah, everything was good. Like, more than good. It was very well done. It just, nothing stood out to me as being exceptionally well done, I think.
I guess that's the standard you have to use when you can't use 4.5. I think 4.5 is a great number.
Okay. Yeah, the cinematography was good. The production, obviously, it's an interesting one in a movie like this because it's shot in real locations and the costumes are very, like, real.
Boring.
Yeah, the two standouts by far was I think the dialogue and the acting. The acting was very, very good. If the acting got its own rating, it definitely would get a 5 for that. It probably was up there with some of the best acting I've seen in a movie since Good Will Hunting, which our podcast.
Good Will Hunting.
Yeah, which I felt the podcast is named after.
I need to watch that movie again when I'm not in labor.
Yeah, that was just not conducive to enjoying it very much.
Yeah. I do want to make a quick remark on the dialogue. I do feel like the opening scene with Mark and his girlfriend was a little awkward.
I think that's the point. Like, I thought it was a good opening in that sense.
Really?
Like, it just jumps right into it, and you immediately understand who Mark is in this portrayal of him.
It's true. I don't know. I just felt like it was kind of halting. Like I don't know. I felt like her acting maybe wasn't super great.
Maybe.
But I could be wrong.
But then again, how are you supposed to interact with somebody like his character?
I know. I can't believe she was dating him.
Yeah, I had more questions about that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how he ever got any women, and it kind of seemed like he didn't really.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the opening scene I thought was very fitting for introducing us to the type of person he was and the type of college life they were living. And it was just them going back and forth, and really it was all about him more than anything. And then we get like a long opening shot of him walking around the campus, and it's very long and drawn out and whatever.
Would he be an INTP on Myers-Briggs?
I don't know. That's a good question. You should look into that.
I should talk.
The music did not stand out to me as being particularly memorable. It was it's more of an atmosphere, I think. There were moments where you felt it, I think, but like it didn't stand out to me enough. Like, I think of Arrival a little bit, where it was very atmosphere, but I still remember it a lot more.
He's an INTJ.
An INTJ, interesting.
It's true.
Or everyone, okay, disclaimer, literally everyone wants to type everyone as an INTJ. Yeah, it's just nothing about it stood out to me as being particularly creative, I think. I felt like it would have been interesting if they had done a little more like creativity with the camera or whatever to kind of give us more of Mark Zuckerberg's personal world or perspective on things, but we never got that, and I'm not complaining that we didn't. It just kind of, yeah.
We didn't get a lot of Mark's inner dialogue.
Yeah. I mean, he was a talker.
That's true.
In the movie. As far as Andrew Garfield goes, I have to comment on him because you have such an affinity for him now. I've seen him in 4 things I want to say. which is the No Way Home, Silence, this movie, and Tick, Tick, Boom. And you haven't seen Tick, Tick, Boom, but I think you'd like him in Tick, Tick, Boom. Actually, I think that was the movie that made me like him, because I wasn't too sure about him in the Spider-Man movie. In Silence, like, he was good, but like that was just one role.
Yeah.
And then Tick, Tick, Boom, I watched him. Okay, I like this guy. I like him. He makes me have warm feelings towards him.
I know. I wonder what it is. I wonder if it's his eyes.
It might be his eyes.
Big brown childlike eyes.
Yeah. But yeah, I think he's very good. I think the casting in this was very good. So yeah, let's go into writing. On a scale of 1 to 5, what would you give it for writing?
I think I'd give it a 4.5.
4.5 again.
Just like all the others.
Okay.
It was good writing. Like the story, I don't know much more to say. The story progressed really well.
Yeah.
It made me feel all the things I was supposed to feel. I'm trying to. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I feel like maybe, and I can't think of them off the top of my head. I'm just going off of the feelings that I have. Maybe there were some things that I wish would have been a little more clear.
Okay.
But altogether, I felt like it was pretty good.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know. My gut's kind of saying 4.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Go with your gut then.
I'll give it a 4.
Okay.
I'm just still good. It was good. It was really good.
Okay. For writing, I honestly haven't thought about this one as much as usual. What would I give it? I think I would give it I might give it a 5. Yeah, because I think the dialogue was very good, like I said earlier. And our common complaint about more movies within the past few years is the dialogue has just gotten worse and worse.
In movies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So having something like this, the dialogue was just very good and very fresh. Once again, it wasn't light dialogue, so there were a lot of things they threw at us, and I'm like, my brain cannot wrap itself around everything they're saying. So that means there's something to kind of look forward to going back and watching it, which is fun to think about. Like I said, the opening I thought was very good for establishing Mark, and the way that it kind of bled right into him making a post, which would lead into him making Facebook, or as they called it at the time, the Facebook, was well done. The Facebook? Yeah, I feel like, once again, they got you very hooked, especially with Eduardo? And just making you feel really bad for him by the time it was over, because he was, and how the way Mark used him and used his money, and Eduardo was trying to essentially get to Mark by making some extreme decisions, because Mark is so in his own little world that he cannot, nothing Eduardo was saying to him, so.
Which is really sad, because Eduardo's like his only friend. Yeah, literally his only friend, and by the time the ending comes, Mark essentially tricked him into losing any control he had over Facebook. So that scene was very heartbreaking towards the end. Like, when he finally snapped at Mark, because he'd been holding it in the whole time and being very nice and gentle, and the scene where he walks right up to him and grabs the computer and smashes it in front of his face, I felt like it was earned. He didn't like go full out in rage, which was so much the character. Eduardo?
Yeah, it was so much of his character, because you could tell he was still holding it back a little bit. But like, I feel it, man. I feel it. And then the betrayal, not the betrayal, but like these stupid decisions that, what was Justin Timberlake's character?
Sean Parker.
Parker, just like the stupid things he did and the way he got in trouble at the end, and how Mark, like, well, one, he's feeling bad about Eduardo, but then two, like the realization of like, I should have listened to Eduardo about this guy, because he just kind of put not a good name on Facebook by some of the things he did. The ending, it accumulated very well. It was like a snowball. It just accumulated, and there was never a moment where it kind of like had a bump. It just rolled very well, and it just carried you the whole way. So yeah, I give it a 5.
Wow.
I'm higher in writing than you on this one.
Good job. I mean, I don't know. I'm just not as good at deciding what to read.
No, it's personal preference. Also, we have to talk about Eduardo's girlfriend. She was crazy.
Psycho girlfriend.
Yeah. He should have broken up with her much sooner than he did.
I know.
The fact that they were like, they got so popular and they didn't really have any girls at the time. And they got popular in this girl shop. Like, hey, we'll hang out with you. And like, oh, cool. But then she ended up being a psychopath and trying to light his room on fire. That is not good.
Yeah, she was crazy.
Just a little bit.
I don't know why she was even his girlfriend, other than the fact that like she was pretty. I guess that's why a lot of people date people.
It's true, yeah. I mean, he or Mark didn't really have any relationships, is the impression I got. So it was kind of like their first shot. So that kind of explains why. But then, obviously, she was not well mentally.
That's true.
Okay. So yeah, let's move on to content. What would you give this as far as content goes on a scale of 1 to 5, weighing the more negative elements against the story and the positive elements?
Let me think.
No worries.
There's some language,
Mm-hmm.
which unfortunately I've become much more desensitized to as the years have gone by. So that doesn't really bother me, honestly. Like, I don't like hearing, like, repeated, like, F-bombs, for example. And certain, like, other things. But, like, in this case, it was there, but it wasn't, like, offensive. Violence, not really any.
Yeah.
There is some drug content.
Probably the most I've seen in a movie.
Yeah, like, drug
Yeah.
use. And there wasn't even a lot. It was just, like, 2 seconds.
It was just there and it was present. It was
I know,
part of the
I did learn about
atmosphere.
cocaine, though, and, like, how you did it.
That's not good.
That's not very good, but I did learn that.
Don't watch this movie to learn.
Yeah, I would say the biggest red flag as far as content goes was, like, the sexuality. From the very beginning, there's that weird party scene. Just weird. Like, unnecessary. Again.
Yeah.
It is painting the picture of, like, the sexual life of college students. I don't think we really needed to see that, though.
Yeah, it definitely added to the vibe of what Mark was doing as far as creating Face Mash, which was creating, you were comparing college girls against each other.
Which was so funny, because they were literally comparing, like, their... yearbook photos, like a headshot of these girls. It's just their face.
Yeah, but like it gave it a weird atmosphere of like the inner motives of the boys, and it was very off-putting and disruptive.
It was icky.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a couple others. Just lots. I will say lots of just implied sleeping with people.
And there's the one scene with Eduardo and Mark and
the girls in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Which, again, we closed our eyes through, so I don't really know what went on. But according to the plugged-in review, I guess it was pretty scandalous.
Yeah.
We don't see a lot, but it was, suggestive.
Yeah.
So I would say I'd give content a 2. Like, I was just thinking, like, would I want to watch this with my family? Like, with, like, the boys around, like, the younger boys and stuff. Like, no, probably not.
It's more of an adult movie.
Yeah, it's more of an adult movie, definitely. So, yeah, I think I'd give content a 2. Definitely an adult movie. Not as bad as it could be. Not as bad as some, but lots of implied sex and such. And drugs, of course. But again, drugs are so far removed from, like, things I would ever contemplate doing or thinking about. So that and, like, language don't really linger in my mind very much. So I don't really think about it that very much.
Well, even if you consider, like, your personal... I mean, there's personal, but, like, just general what people feel / what you'd want to expose other people to. For content, I would give this a 3, I think. Because, well, one, this is a PG-13 film, so it's a little different when you're rating a PG movie and a PG-13 movie, I think. If this was in a PG movie, first off, there's no way. 2, yeah, I'd get like a 1, because, like, why would this be? Yeah. I think the biggest reason I give it a 3 is, like you said, there's definitely its fair share of quote-unquote adult content, so to speak, like the the drugs and the sexual content. And I think it makes sense why it's there because it's a secular college life. So it's creating an atmosphere, and it does that well. The reason I don't give it like a 2 or 1 because it's not as bad as it could be. Most of it's implied. There is some of it there that's pretty, raunchy, but you can avoid it easily enough, I think. I think the opening scene is probably the hardest one to avoid.
Yeah.
Not like the very opening, but like what happens, kind of like the introduction.
On his walk, or while he's making that.
While he's making face mash. The reason I give it a 3 instead of like a 4, even though the stuff makes sense why it's there, is that I don't think all of it necessarily had to be there to tell the story. Like some of it did kind of cross borderline, somewhat offensive.
Really?
Yeah, like not offensive in the sense of like, I can't believe it. So much as like, was that there? Like, did that really contribute?
Like what are you thinking about?
Well, like, like the scandal scene in the bathroom with the guys,
yeah.
like, what did that add, really? Nothing.
Yeah.
It was just there. And so it was just like, okay, whatever. So I felt like there could have been some things that could have been done a little differently, which could have changed the rating. Not that they're doing this for my own personal rating, obviously. But yeah, it's an adult movie. It's not aimed for kids. I wouldn't watch this with even teenagers, just because it is pretty heavy.
And I think you have to be able to be like, I don't feel comfortable watching this as your own individual, because you're not going to like monitor the people watching it and what they're doing. So like I wouldn't want to watch it with someone like a teenager.
Yeah. So yeah, I think solid 3 sounds good to me. Yeah, so let's look at the overall ratings. That gives me a 4 and a 4 and a 5 and a 3. So I guess that'd land me at, 4, right? No, 5, 4, 3. Okay, just above 4, I guess. Not 4.5, not quite. Just above 4. I think I'd agree with that for the most part. I'd probably, like, just round it up. I'd probably just give it a 4. It was good. It was very interesting, very thought-provoking. It was a very interesting character study, like I said. How much of it is accurate to history? Who's to say? Because I haven't done the research. As a story, it was very well done. And it's one that I definitely would go down. I'd watch again, and one that I would recommend to people who... Yeah, I'd recommend it, obviously, with the caveats of, there's going to be certain content, so do what you will with that. But yeah, I feel like the what you get from it, the story and the thought provokingness, the thoughts, the conversation,
Food for thought.
the food for thought it gives you, I'd say it's worth it. I don't know if it will go down as like one of my favorites. Maybe it will if I give it time. But yeah, what about you?
I would give this movie a 4 also.
4.5, 4.5.
Oh, okay.
4,
I don't really feel like
2.
I don't feel like rating the movie as a 4.5 like altogether. That's fine in the categories, but yeah, I'd give it a 4. It was very interesting. It was enjoyable. It was thought provoking, like you said. Acting was really good. The vibes were really good. So yeah, I'd give it a 4. I'd watch it again. I'd recommend it to people.
Oh, so I need to go back to writing for a second. Because I don't know how I'll edit this, if I will edit it. So I need to go back to writing. So one of the things that just occurred to me, we haven't talked about the Winklevosses at all.
Oh, yeah.
Which were a very big part of the story.
Winklevie.
Also, I just thought about something for production quality. So for writing with the Winklevosses, they accused Mark of stealing their idea, which in the movie he kind of did. He took their idea and said he'd go with it, but like he didn't officially use any of their stuff so much as first it was just a dirty trick. Like that was very selfish.
I don't think it could have been something that they could really contest in the court. It was definitely immoral, though, and it was definitely intellectual property theft.
Yeah.
But how do you protect intellectual property though?
I don't know. But yeah, that whole subplot was very interesting. I think that definitely added more dynamic because that way you're not just having Eduardo and Mark, but you've got them kind of contending on their side and making their accusations. And I just find it interesting that first off, that they're coincidentally twins and that they're what would you call that sport? Is it rowing?
They're oarsmen.
Oarsmen.
They row.
Yeah. And they happen to have actually been in the Olympics. I just thought that was fun. Fascinating and kind of amusing. But they just didn't have the chops to necessarily make the coding for, not what they would have called Facebook, but something like Facebook at the time. I thought their story was interesting, like the fact that they finally went to the president of Harvard.
He didn't even care.
And he was not a nice guy.
No, he wasn't.
And you had the one guy one twin who was much more frustrated than the other. I thought that was all well done and fun. I guess going to production quality, I guess the one category that I might boost this to a 5 for, in and of itself, was the race when they were rowing. It was a little almost out of place in the movie, but it was very interestingly shot. Like the very GoPro-ness of it all. The fact that like there were moments when it was like on the oar, like looking at them from different angles and kind of distorted, and you had the Hall of the Mountain King playing. It was just it was fun to watch. It reminded me a little bit of the second Sherlock Holmes movie.
Oh.
Game of Shadows, when they're running through the forest and they've got like all the crazy camera stuff happening, so you feel like you're watching a fever dream as they're running and being blasted at, and there's like weird GoPro shots going on, and it kind of reminded me of that a little bit, the same aesthetics. So yeah, now we're going into the Tom Hanks section of this film, where Tom Hanks comes out and sings a silly song. Tom Hanks, who would he replace in this film?
Sean Parker.
Sean Parker, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Really. Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. Wow. Yes. Without a doubt, people. That's pretty good. Bane needs to make an appearance in the show real quick. Oh, there was a line. There was one line. I can't remember what it was, but it's essentially the Winklevosses are talking with their friend about what they're going to do to Mark and what they need to do, and one of them is suggesting legal action. His friend's like, we should just take a gang and go beat them up, essentially. And then one of the twins like scoffs at him. It's like, I'm 6'5". I could easily do that. And there's two of me. I like that line very much.
I wish we could find those exact words. That was funny.
So yeah, I guess I'll do this short line you found for me. You randomly selected on IMDb.
I feel like it's pithy.
It's pithy. The internet's not written in pencil mark. It's written in ink.
That was not very Bane-like. You should try again.
Okay, here we go. The internet's not written in pencil, Mr. Wayne. It's written in ink.
Very nice.
Thank you. And
does Bane actually call Batman Mr. Wayne?
Yeah, that's how he introduces himself.
Oh, okay.
What does he say? Now is not the time for formality, Mr. Wayne.
Okay.
Something like that. And Swedish Chef. Heard in ink.
Very nice.
Whew, that one was hard. took a lot out of me. All right. Well, it's late. We've gone on for this one for a while. It's been a couple pauses, but we'll edit that out. Yeah, thank you all for coming and listening to our... Don't give me that.
Thank you all for coming and listening to our radio show. That's what what you sound like.
Is that what?
Yes.
That what I sound like? Well, thank you all for coming and listening to this week's session about the movie. Let us know what you think of the movie in the comments, and let us know who really sucks around here. Ooh, edgy. But yeah, until next time, we hope that you are inspired to talk about more films, talk about movies, and we hope that you have a good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.